So you want to open anonymous bank accounts, store your wealth in top-tier banking hubs, and keep your private financial information private. You're looking for enhanced security, asset protection, and maybe you want to be left alone. But in a world of hyper-transparency and automatic information sharing, where, if anywhere, can you actually unlock anonymous banking? Well, anonymous bank account opening has changed completely. And in fact, the type of anonymous banking that you're probably looking for, it's long gone. But while complete secrecy, it no longer exists, many of the benefits are still available. And in this video, I'm gonna share the different types of anonymous bank accounts that do exist today, where things start to get dodgy, what you need to watch out for, and how you can unlock those same benefits of anonymous banking without crossing the line. Now, if this is your first time on the channel, I'm Chris, head of banking relationships here at GlobalBanks. We're a team of banking experts that decode international banking and solve cross-border problems for businesses and individuals. I spend all of my time talking to bankers around the world, solving banking problems, uncovering new opportunities, and navigating the ins and outs of cross-border banking and financial services for our clients. In these videos, I'm sharing the secrets that banks won't tell you, but they're happy to share with us so that you can start to unlock the benefits of international banking as well. Okay, so let's talk anonymous banking. Whether you call them anonymous bank accounts, numbered accounts, or secret Swiss bank accounts, it all basically means the same thing. And for over 100 years, the rich, the powerful, and the well-connected have used them. From dictators to arms dealers, intelligence agencies to cheating spouses, anonymous accounts have basically penetrated every layer and level of society. A lot of people, they wanted privacy. Others use them to avoid taxes. And certain groups, they just wanted untraceable accounts to disguise various activities. And yes, people use them to hide money from ex-husbands, ex-wives, disgruntled business partners, as well as creditors. But I need to make a really important point. The fact that people have some desire to be private or maintain some level of anonymity, it doesn't mean they're engaged in criminal activity or they're up to anything nefarious. In fact, plenty of people have used anonymous bank accounts throughout history to protect their life savings from corrupt governments, illegal seizures, or confiscation in their home countries. So it's no wonder that there's still a desire to tap into the benefits of anonymous banking. Maybe that sounds weird to you if you're sitting in a developed country with rule of law, where both banks and governments generally respect your ownership rights over your bank account. They're not going to go into your account and steal your money. But there's many people who don't live in countries with strong rule of law, where banks and governments don't respect their ownership of their bank accounts. And in those cases, an anonymous bank account can provide additional security for them and their families. So can you open an anonymous account today? Well, up until the 90s, Swiss numbered accounts, they were basically the gold standard for anonymity. The bank didn't know who the ultimate beneficial owner was, your name wouldn't appear anywhere. And basically people would either set up a company with bearer shares and then have their lawyer open a corporate account for the company, and in seconds you'd end up with an anonymous bank account that couldn't tie back to you. Or secondly, the identity of the account holder was simply replaced with a multi-digit number or code, hence the name numbered accounts. Traditionally, that account holder's name and code, they were written on an index card, and that index card would then be placed in the bank's vault. And it would only be accessible to the banker and his boss. Now, like any bank account, that money could either sit there and do nothing, or it could grow through investments. It was totally up to the client. And that's where things start to get a little tricky. It was the account holder's responsibility to report the account to the respective tax authorities. If the owner didn't declare the account, it was nearly impossible for the tax authorities to find out that it even existed. As a result, the owner wouldn't pay taxes on their account in, say, Switzerland, and the money, it would grow over time, essentially tax-free. Basically, in the era of banking secrecy, the thinking was, if nobody knew about the bank account, then the bank account wasn't taxable. But in 2007, everything changed. UBS got busted helping Americans evade taxes with anonymous accounts. Not surprisingly, the US government was not very happy. It took them a few years, but then in 2010, the US retaliated and rolled out information sharing through the Foreign Account Tax Compliance Act, or what we commonly refer to as FATCA. FATCA essentially forces every bank in the world to report back to the US government and provide information about financial accounts held by US persons. Now, not to be outdone, the rest of the world introduced the Common Reporting Standards and the Automatic Exchange of Information in 2014, which was then expedited by the Panama Papers leak in 2016. Basically, 2007 to 2016 was a complete mess, and it changed the landscape of international banking completely. It resulted in tons of bureaucracy being injected into the system and mountains of paperwork being required in order to open accounts as foreign non-residents. And today, we have tougher banking laws, beefier KYC and AML rules, and new compliance standards. As a result, banking secrecy is dead. And for the most part, so are anonymous bank accounts. unless you know the specific benefits that you're looking for. Now, certain individuals and company owners, they end up with anonymous bank accounts simply for the intrigue. They probably watched one too many spy thrillers. Hell, even The Wolf of Wall Street has a Swiss banking scene where the main character opens an account offshore and deposits mountains of cash in someone else's name. So it's not surprising that many people, they first learn about anonymous banking from Hollywood and then aspire to some degree to get in on the action. But privacy and a real desire to be anonymous is what usually drives people to open accounts. And this can be a real concern if you're from a country with rampant corruption, weak rule of law, and you might not want corrupt bank employees or government officials to have easy access to your private financial information. And I know this might seem like a joke to people sitting in Canada, the US, or the UK, but it's not. Depending on where you are in the world, having your accounts easily accessible to individuals in your home country, they can make you and your family targets for extortion, kidnapping, and blackmail. And this is especially true if you maintain a healthy balance in your account. And this is a major driver why individuals from these countries, they tend to look to bank in stable offshore banking jurisdictions with strong rule of law, strong international banks, and where banks and governments generally respect the account owner and the accounts that are being held. On the other hand, folks, they might be less concerned about extortion and more worried about protecting themselves from identity theft and cyber criminals. If your name, personal details, and account information are easily accessible and splashed all over a bank's internal systems, you're vulnerable to identity theft and cybercrime. Quick examples here, they include JP Morgan being hacked back in 2014 and having information on more than 80 million clients stolen. Capital One, they faced a similar situation in 2019 where over 100 million clients had their information exposed. And the list of examples goes on. Now, there are other reasons why people want anonymous accounts as well. I've already covered a number of these in the video. So let's talk about where and how to actually access anonymous banking today. Again, in the traditional sense, anonymous bank accounts, they no longer exist. Banks follow strict policies and regulations. There's a long list of acronyms: CDD, EDD, KYC, AML, CFT, BSA, etc., etc., etc. In short, banks must verify the identity of the ultimate beneficial owner of an account, period. In fact, if you go to a bank and they don't do this, please go somewhere else because you're not dealing with a legitimate financial institution. On top of regulations, the exchange of information through FATCA and CRS, plus a bunch of other information sharing agreements that you've probably never heard of, they now require banks to report your account information directly to tax authorities in your home country. So while certain people still think it's a great idea to try and open anonymous bank accounts, either through a third party or in someone else's name as the signatory, this is a horrible idea, not to mention being completely illegal in most countries. Now, another popular approach that some folks try is to buy a company that already has a functioning bank account that was set up by the previous owner or registered by the lawyer that's selling you the company. This is generally considered a shelf company. And instead of informing the bank about the ownership change, they just keep operating it effectively as an anonymous bank account. Obviously, most people inform the bank of the ownership change when they buy the company, but some people don't. Though this only works if the country of registration doesn't have a public registry, and again, don't do this. Instead, you can get the benefits of an anonymous bank account using 100% legal and fully legitimate strategies. Now, these strategies, they allow you to reduce your taxes, increase asset protection, and remove leverage that any one government has over you and your finances. And it allows you to protect your family from extortion and corruption. So depending on your motivation, there's usually going to be an available solution to your problems. Now, high level, these options, they can range from structuring offshore trusts and corporations to establishing permanent residency or acquiring citizenship in another jurisdiction. Of course, in all these instances, you also need to move your money into safe and reputable banks in strong banking hubs. And depending on your citizenship, the specific options and steps you can take will vary. If you're not an American, again, not an American, this process can be considerably easier. Basically, you can become a non-resident of your home country, establish tax residency in a low tax, no tax, or territorial tax jurisdiction, and then open accounts in strong financial centers with strong international banks. In doing so, you will effectively eliminate your tax burden and secure your finances with strong banks in stable countries. On the other hand, if you are a US citizen, unlocking the benefits of anonymous banking is much more difficult, and it usually takes more time and requires you to jump through more hoops. Basically, US citizens, they have three options. The light version involves moving abroad and taking advantage of the foreign earned income exclusion. The middle of the road approach involves moving to Puerto Rico or the US Virgin Islands. And the full Monty is obtaining a second or third citizenship, renouncing your US citizenship, and leaving the United States for good. Of course, if you're just looking to unlock a bit more protection, stability, and security over your money, the easiest first step that you and anyone can take is to just open an international bank account with a strong bank in a reputable jurisdiction. jurisdiction. And if you're ready to take that first step, we've got some resources for you. First, you can access thousands of free articles on globalbanks.com where we cover hundreds of countries in terms of banking and financial services. You can also get access to GlobalBanks IQ, our international banking intelligence platform, which gives you access to our bank database, specific client requirements, and information on individual banks and the specific clients they cater to. Of course, if you'd prefer to have your own team of banking experts help navigate your account opening options, you can use our dedicated account opening services, GlobalBanks Insider or GlobalBanks USA. But before you go check out any of those services or the free articles on our website, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you get alerted the next time that we share a video. And yes, we are going to be publishing many more videos that are going to highlight a number of interesting bank account opening options, how to open accounts remotely, as well as US bank account opening for foreign non-residents. So make sure you subscribe and get alerted every time we post a new video.